So I saw a headline yesterday and I just had to comment. It was our current mayor of London saying that he thought we faced a quote-unquote existential crisis due to COVID. He also went on to say that he was having a hard time sleeping at night, wondering if commuters would ever come back to his city. And on the same note, he pleaded with the government not to go back to the old curfew system if and when we come out of lockdown. Now, let me just frame this for you. This is an elected official who runs this city of 9 million people that not only wanted the lockdown, not only predicted the lockdown, he crusaded to lock London down. He crusaded for our lockdown last time before the national lockdown. This is for a guy who's charged with looking after the livelihood of everyone in this city. And everyone I spoke to on my show, from hospitality owners to tourism people in the business, to people in the theater business, to taxi drivers, all said, Brian, we want to find a way to keep London working. And I said, I know, and I know we can. The science shows we can. And yet our elected mayor was trying to shut our own city down. And it didn't make sense to me. For a while, I thought, why would the man charged with running the city, whose own metric has got to be economic growth, or one of them, try to shut his own city down? It's like he's sabotaging himself. It's like he's ruining the one thing that can, exonerate him. I also thought that same economic activity is what pays for tube fares, and his tube is billions and billions of pounds in debt because of his own financial mismanagement. So he needs that. And I also thought that the tax revenues are what pays his 27,000 employees. So again, from a businessman's perspective, I thought, how could you ever shut the economy down? You need to try to do anything you can just to try to support this city, not only for the taxpayers, not only for the small businesses, but even for yourself. But of course, no, he tried to shut this city down, and I finally understood this game. And that's the thing about politics. You are given an illusion of choice. You can choose Labor or you can choose Conservative, but they both work on their own political agendas to get themselves reelected, and they don't care about the ramifications for you and me as citizens and as taxpayers. And so Sadiq's plan is to put such a massive economic hole in this city that next year he will blame the prime minister for it, who's conveniently of the opposite party. He'll ask the national government for more billions and billions of pounds in bailouts, and he's already asked for a lot of money. And I detailed this on my episode on London Real on Friday, all about the massive TfL budget deficit and the other 30 billion pounds he's asking for subsidized housing, which he never built, and all sorts of other political issues which he wants. And he'll go next year and say, it was Boris Johnson. It's not my fault. I tried my best. I told everyone to lock down earlier. Please bail me out and please re-elect me. And for me, this is not a strategy that works. This is not a strategy in the interests of you or me as citizens. And I'm tired of this duplicitous lying by our current mayor, who on one hand crusades and campaigns for a lockdown, and on the other hand throws his hands up and says he can't sleep at night because of the lockdown. And oh, by the way, please ease the curfew, when you were the one trying to close the hospitality sector down in the first place. And so the more I learn about the political machine, the more it makes me sick, and the more I don't want to be a part of it. What I want to do is come in and I want to fix things. I want a clean house. I want to make science-based decisions. I want a proportionate response to this virus. I want to show leadership. This mayor could have simply found a way to get this city back to work. And you say, how, Brian? Well, he could have sat down with the 25 global banks in the city of London and said, what's it going to take to get 20% of your workforce back here safely? You're younger, more safer workers. How can we get them in here? How can we find ways to keep hospitality venues open? They're only responsible for 3% of COVID transmissions. How can we find a way? How can we find a way to keep gyms open, responsible for less than 2% of COVID transactions? How can we open up the theaters? John Morgan from the Theaters Trust in my studio told me exactly how to open up these theaters, which would supercharge tourism here in London, even from the rest of the UK, regardless of international. There were solutions. And yet our mayor stuck his head in the ground and said, lockdown, 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 and pointed the finger at the other party and said it's his fault. Watch what he says most of the time. It's always Boris's fault for his own shortcomings. And in my book, when you're a leader, you own your decisions. It's always your fault. and you move forward based on any mistakes you made in the past. And that's the way I plan to lead this city as your next mayor. Starting May 7th, we're going to make some serious decisions here, and they're all going to be around getting London back to work, because the way we save this city is to save the economy. It changes everything. It gives us our tax revenues back. It gives us our transportation for London back. It gives us our health care back. It gives us our mental health back. It gives everything back. But it's the one thing that our current mayor isn't going to do. And if he stays in power, this is going to go on and on and on and on. So leave me your comments below. Tell me if you're frustrated like I am, where on one hand this man says lock us down, on the other hand he says why is this city not working. Share this video if it resonates with you, and again, I will just keep pushing forward. It's just hard for me to fathom some of the things that happen with these politicians, but I'm starting to learn their game, and so are you. So let's hold them accountable, and let's make sure we don't tolerate any of this nonsense anymore. Thank you very much.